Welcome to CEO Insights. I'm Marilyn de Guzman with INN. I'm speaking with Greg Robb, President and CEO of Helium Evolution, a helium exploration company with a significant landholding in Saskatchewan, Canada. Hi, Greg.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good. Good to see you. So you've released some recent information about the progress that you're doing at the Mankota wells. Could you provide some highlights of the results that you've had and why these are important?
Yeah. We've been pursuing drilling at Mankota for around a year now with our partner, North American Helium, testing a bunch of anomalies. And over the last 2 years, I guess, we've drilled about 11 wells, a number of them in the Mankota-area, and we discovered helium in the last 3. Now, we proceeded with completion and testing on those wells, and some of that's ongoing. We found that we have economic flow rates, so we're quite excited about that. The next steps are getting further reservoir evaluation. You flow them and then you shut them in for a period of time, and you build up and PTA analysis to better understand the reservoir. And then we'll be proceeding later, and it's because of surface conditions. We'll be proceeding later in probably July, August, September with further drilling, pipelining, and probably bringing in a plant and then aiming for production at the end of the year. So Mankota is a major turning point for us.
So I think one of the most significant aspects about your project is your farm-out agreement with North American Helium, and you mentioned them earlier. Could you talk about why this partnership is significant for the company and the shareholders?
Well, this is a very capital-intensive project. So North American has capital and know-how. They've been around for about 10, 11 years. We've been around for about 2.5. So they're ahead of us in terms of the database and the knowledge of the play. Good partner to have. They're also our major shareholder, our largest shareholder at 10%. Our land base initially, we had 5.6 million acres, and there were only 5 deep tests, 5 data points. So one per 1.1 million acres. Now with North American, we've added 11 new wells. So we now have 16 wells at 5.6 million acres. Still a pretty thin database. 16 wells over that acreage amounts to about 3 wells per million acres. So a very, very early wildcat type of play, but nonetheless, we've made discoveries now. And so that relationship with North American has been very beneficial for us. We'll see how that goes forward. We've got lots more to explore, hopefully with them as a partner. We've also gained a lot of knowledge and experience ourselves, so that we can start doing some bolder things on our own. Although it's a expensive, risky play, so we'll continue to move at a measured pace, and sort of parlay this initial discovery into some cash flow, and then continue to make decisions in a responsible way and move forward like we have been.
For investors that are maybe not too familiar with sort of the helium market and its role as we move forward towards clean energy, decarbonization, can you talk about the prospects for helium and what its role is in our efforts towards decarbonization?
Well, it's not specifically energy related. It's kind of tangential, but helium is an important element for use in a number of high-tech applications. The health sector in MRI machines, chip manufacturing, space exploration, fiber optics. So it is important in a peripheral way to energy and pretty much all high-tech applications. What has happened is that as technology has increased, demand for helium has risen, and at the same time, older supplies have diminished. Some of the key supply areas have just depleted, and specifically, the U.S. supplied about 40% of the world market, and they're now like to be supplying about 20% of the world market, but they're going to have about 30%, 35% of world demand. So that delta needs to be made up somehow, and you can make it up with offshore supplies from places like Qatar or Russia is going to be bringing product on, or they can look to Canada and Saskatchewan to fill that void. And that's where we think we can play a meaningful role.
And do you want to talk about, you have a big land package in Saskatchewan, and you're starting to just, I guess, scratch the surface. If you want to sort of provide an overview of that land package and what makes it a compelling asset.
Well, the land package was put together in a methodical way, given the database that we had. The government of Saskatchewan had assembled a lot of maps from industry geophysics that had anomalies that were possible helium. We just called them leads. And so we focused in on where these anomalies were on available acreage, and then posted as many as we possibly could. We ended up tying up a couple hundred of them, and now we've tested some. They were put together, these maps were put together by a guy named Sawatsky, the Saskatchewan Geological Survey, and we're talking data from the 50s and 60s. But nonetheless, a very unique compilation that is proved quite valuable. Most of the helium discoveries that have been made to date, even in the last 4 or 5 years, are associated with these what we call Sawatsky anomalies, named after the man who compiled the maps. So the information has stood the test of time, and so we based our initial focus on acquiring a number of those anomalies. The wells that we recently drilled at Mankota, the discoveries, they are on some of those anomalies as well. That said, not all of them are created equal. And we have, to test 200 of them would take on the order of, a couple $100 million or more. So it's going to take time. We get geophysics to high grade them and sort of separate quality-wise, which are better category than the others. But that's how it was put together initially. And as we go through it, we'll separate the lands that we think are of a higher quality and test them and probably release other lands as we go forward.
So what's the next steps for the project? What catalysts can we expect over the next few months?
Well, the next thing is we have breakup coming upon us right now. So it gives us a chance to assess our data and sort of look back at, the last period where you're moving pretty quick. The Mankota-area will be a near-term focus for development and getting production online, which would lead to cash flow maybe the fourth quarter this year. That would be a big point for us, getting cash flow and production. And then we have a basin to the north that we really like. We call it the Glenbane Gravelberg area, where we see a lot of interesting anomalies. And I think we're going to go shoot some seismic, and that'll be an exploration area. So we have the development at Mankota, which we'll focus on with our partner. And then we have stuff to the north that will make an exploration effort in the second half of the year and the first half of 25.
So if you're speaking to an investor right now, what is your key message? Why is Helium Evolution a compelling investment opportunity right now?
Well, I think we're undervalued. We're obviously making progress. And the commodity is a very important very important commodity, very valuable. So the economics are very compelling. And in spite of the risk profile, given our methodical approach, we've now had some success. We're going to continue with that same approach, and we think we're going to build this company into a significant Canadian player and build significant value for our shareholders.
Great. Well, thanks, Greg, for taking your time and speaking with me today.
Yeah, nice to see you again, and let's see what happens in the next 12 months. I'm sure we'll be talking more.
Great. And thanks, everyone, for watching. Join us again next time for another engaging conversation on CEO Insights. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates and interviews. See you next time.